Let's get the microphone here. See how the seems to just be the way it's looking at. I think that'll work. Hamnet. I don't know if you're talking to me, Brian. So is Melania. Anyhow, sound and video check. How's it looking? How's it sound? Looks a little washed out. I don't know if there's an easy way to fix that. Not horrible. We'll see. Okay. Anyhow, as I just mentioned, Eva's feeling a little bit under the weather, so I'm back on the YouTube thing. And I'm early wired too. Nothing else to do. By the way, a little warning, I may get a phone call from Nicaragua and have to do some consulting. So you might be able to watch that in real time. Could be kind of fun. We shall see how it goes. Hey, smoking. Still on hospice, huh? Gonna go break a record, huh? Well, I don't know if that's the kind of record you want to break, but hopefully you'll break a record by beating it. Yep. So anyhow, so that's a situation that's potentially going to happen because due to a number of constraints, he wasn't able to come over here and get kind of briefed on how to do certain things before he went back down to Nicaragua. So I may have to walk him through some stuff. As a matter of fact, to a certain extent, I'm definitely going to have to see what we shall see. Let's see, aside from that, Eva continues to get better with the exception of today. She ate too much popcorn at the movies and it did not agree with her. We went to see Melania and I was quite pleased because it was about basically a year ago right now, between New Year's and day after inauguration. It had all kinds of interesting insider dope basically behind the scenes and how things are getting lined up and organized and stuff. So that was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. Look at some of the stuff here. Oh, there's a guy. He has this channel. I think it was Schwendy Colors. But anyhow, he was thank you, smoking. Yes, she is, honey bunny. She's a legal citizen, but she's a naturalized citizen. She's from some Eastern European country. I forget what it is, like Slovakia or something like that. Absolutely. But anyhow, so Schwendy Colors is his channel. He does, videos from out of doors and this and that and the other. He's pretty good videographer and such, but he apparently was exploring some caves and almost got taken out by bad air. So just, be careful when you're not sure. Thank you, honey bunny. I appreciate it. By the way, I got the Gold Monster 1000, and it's pretty simple to run. The copper wire test in the solution seems to be working just fine. if you take a clean copper wire, put it in the bleach solution from one of my bottle rolls, it gives you a clear result in like 15 minutes. So it's pretty good. And then an interesting thing was, I don't think you can see well, you might be a little, let's see what I can do here. Yeah, everything's backwards. That graph you see on, yeah, everything's backwards. That graph you see on the whiteboard is the gold concentration in solution of a particular test I ran after I put the resin in it. As you see, it dropped dramatically in the first 6 hours and then flatlined. So I interpret that as the resin got loaded and couldn't take anymore. And in 6 hours, let's see. I didn't write that. So let me do that here. This will be 6, 12, 6, 12, 18, 24, 36, and 48 hours. Okay. And the gold in solution is in parts per million. So as you can see, about a little more than 2/3 of the gold went into that resin real quick, and then it just flatlined. So it tells me, A, I need to add more resin, and B, that the resin really absorbs it fairly quickly. So I did another test where I spaced them at 1 hour intervals, and it seemed to do pretty good in an hour, but not enough. It seems more like 2 hours of contact time. So that's the current plan right now. Let's get that around there. There we go. Is 2 hours of contact time, but also put in the resin, like about 2/3 of the resin, let it run for an hour, and then throw in the rest of the resin and run it for another hour. Okay. And so we will try that in the real world and see how it works. The other thing that was apparent from the test results was that we had 2 different tests, both used the exact same amount of hydrogen peroxide to pre-treat and almost the same amount of Eco Goldex, but one of them, it started out with less Eco Goldex, so I added some more at 24 hours after I titrated it, whereas the other one, I just put it all in at the beginning, and that one got significantly less gold. It went from 30 parts per million down to 20 recovered. So it appears that there's a good chance that you want the Eco Goldex done in multiple editions, as opposed to just putting it all in at the beginning, like it gets consumed or passivated or something. I don't know. Again, I've got some other tests I'm running on that right now. But which one was less? The one where I put it all in at first. And I actually put in a little more all at once. And it didn't do as well as the one that I put it in 2 editions, one big one at first and one smaller one later. So, your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. Apparently, the internet is having a problem. Did anyone else see buffering or anything like that? Well, I can titrate the Eco Goldex. I have the chemicals and stuff for that, but there should have been plenty left. So it may be that the addition of the Eco Goldex generates some temporary radical or something, which is what's really critical, and then it kind of fades out or something. Not sure. Doing some tests. As usual, nothing's ever as easy as it's supposed to be. And so it may be that we can just, space out the additions and get better effective leaching for the same amount of Eco Goldex. And the amount of Eco Goldex, we shall see what we shall see. And that's basically what it looks like. The resin is faster than anticipated, but it's more limited than anticipated. The total loading factor was only 0.6% at this level here, but it loaded that 0.6 in less than 6 hours. Don't know how much less. The testing I did with the copper wires seemed to indicate a lot of it happened in the first hour. Okay. And so it may be able to, may be pretty fast, but again, it seems to, in theory, it'll work better if we add the resin in allotments also, so we shall see what we shall see. So anyhow, those are kind of the discoveries I've made this week. And they're kind of provisional discoveries right now, because right now we're focused on, I don't strip the resin on these tests. I'm only doing, these are 100 grams of material. And so I fire assay the resin. It's way too small a quantity. I mean, I think this last batch was like 2 grams of resin and smelt it. So that's what I'm doing. Lawrence said he got what appears to be the new furnace in, but he's really, really busy and hadn't even had time to look at it. So how did you strip the resin usually? And for large quantities, production quantities, like, we're working on right down in Nicaragua, sulfuric acid and thiourea, pH of 1, a temperature of 140 degrees Fahrenheit. And it was quite a lot of thiourea. Forget how much, but something like 20% thiourea. It's a lot. I mean, it was 20% thiourea. It's a lot. I mean, it was 1,000. It was over 1,000 grams in like 4 gallons of solution. But it's pretty concentrated stuff. And the thiourea got consumed pretty significantly too. In the previous stuff at the mill, it was like for every 333 grams of resin, it took like 100 grams of thiourea to strip it. It's pretty significant. But I say down there, the plan is to use. Oh, that should be bolded. About 500 grams of max water, resin for 25 kilograms of solids. Okay. So, a fair amount. Milling my slag from last week with water and a bit of sulfuric. So how does it work, Brian? Is it dissolving readily? For me, this has basically been doing laboratory stuff this fall, partly because of health reasons, partly because it was just a slow year this year because I had the heart attack in the spring and the life-threatening nosebleed in September, and then Eva got diagnosed with cancer in the summer, and so we've been dealing with that. So that's just been a real gold, and I'm not sure. No, I'm pretty sure I can't show you that on the way we're set up here. But anyhow, yeah, we should be. They're setting up if things work right. Let's see, what would that be? It's about 10 grams per ton. Yeah, they should be getting a few ounces per day. And the price of gold right now, a few ounces is quite a lot of money. So that's what we're trying to do. This right now. They got a lot of sulfide cons from previous work that they need to leach, and also they found out that basically what they were doing with the cons bins on the tables was they had a tub that was plumbed in to a waistline basically, and they would put a bucket in the tub that would catch the stuff coming down. However, the discharge from those tubs just mixed with the tailings and headed to tailings. And we were getting, a fifth of an ounce. I mean, not a fifth of an ounce. Basically 1 to 2 grams per ton, and 1 gram per ton. 3 grams per ton would be 1/10 of an ounce. So like we'll go to a single collection point that then gets retabled. And the only thing that goes to tailings is just the tailings, the stuff that goes off the bottom of the table into the trough. So hopefully that will also make things more efficient overall. Lead slag, you might want to add some charcoal to that smoking. If it's lead slag, there's going to tend to be some lead oxide in there. By throwing in some charcoal, you reduce that. That's entirely possible, Bunny. Certainly, if there was no other way to get it, that is certainly a good enough concentration in the tailings to justify leaching. If, on the other hand, we can get half or 3/4 of that by improving the gravity separation, then it starts dropping it pretty low for the extra costs. Hello, Triac 777. So we're still working to figure out exactly how those losses are occurring and whether they're not recoverable fairly easily by using gravity. Hey, Lars, trying to confuse us, trying to sneak in here, huh? But anyhow, that's part of what we're working on right now. Now, let's say Jared is supposed to call me later and talk about the hydrogen peroxide pretreatment that we're going to do. And then he should have told the guys at the mine to do some testing with tailings and water to see how long they have to put a charge in their mini ball mill to beat the total bejesus out of it, like 200 mesh minus. And I said, we want it so that there is zero grit detectable between your fingers. It should taste like syrup, I mean, not taste, feel like syrup. So that would be, hey, Shane, we don't know how long that's going to take in terms of, we don't know how long that's going to take in terms of, you put a charge in the little mini ball mill and run it. Is that going to take 30 minutes, 2 hours, 6 hours? Don't know. But the idea is to use the hydrogen peroxide, then throw it in the mini ball mill, beat the bejesus out of it, and then leach it in a cement mixer. And one of the problems right now, if you want a cement mixer in the local town, a brand new one will cost you like $2,000. If you go all the way to Managua, then it's only $500. So for some of the testing, we may just go ahead and use the mini ball mill without any balls in it, because it will sit there and turn. But it doesn't have an opening like a cement peroxide in it if we're turning it, because it could build up way too much pressure. That hydrogen peroxide, when you throw it in there, it generates gas, presumably oxygen. But it generates a lot of gas, and we might actually turn that ball mill into a bomb. Not sure. But it's one of those things that during the initial testing phases and familiarization phases, the first thing we're going to do is use tailings and water. That way, if you screw anything up, you're not having to deal with chemicals. You haven't lost any chemicals. You haven't lost any gold. It's just mud. No big deal. And some of these things like screening out the resin beads from the slurry are in Nicaragua, not here in Helena. But we can do some of the processes with the ball mill. Say if we react the sulfides first with the hydrogen peroxide, then throw everything in the ball mill, and then ball mill it, and then throw the Eco Goldex in there with no balls and run it for a while, and then put the resin in there. All that could be done in the ball mill for a testing situation. Yep. Desert Travis. Gravity separation are problematic at times, you know. I think you're thinking of Venezuela, honey bunny. And I say, as far as I know, Nicaragua's not doing a lot of shooting up at this time, but I could be wrong. Nobody's mentioned it. They just might be in an area that's not a problem. Um, if there was shooting going around, you want to be very careful not to let people know you're getting gold. And that could get problematic right quickly. Um, so, say that's the situation right now, is that theoretically today he instructed the guys at the mine to both test how long does it take of running the little mini ball mill to turn it into, grease, so to speak. And they also having to build something that'll screen the uh, the resin out of the slurry while getting it in buckets. It never hurts to check, Desert Travis. I mean, pan your tailings all the time just to be sure. Even when things are running smoothly, check it because it will change character for no particular reason. Reality is just not cooperative. Oh, yeah, that they were, honey bunny. Haven't heard anything about that at this point, but that was a long time ago. So hopefully all that's water under the bridge at this point in time. But that's basically the situation, and they have a house that's their base of operations. He says 20 minutes from the mine. As they're going to bring stuff home from the mine, and we'll be running some tests, is the idea. But say theoretically, they could call it any moment, and we shall see. I may dream at the same time. We'll see how well I can multitask. Um, let's see. To fill in some of the people, the copper wire test in the Eco Goldex seemed to work pretty well at detecting it in concentrations of 20 to 30 parts per million. You get a result in 15 minutes or less. What is the shipping like? The wire test does seem to work uh, pretty well. And there was an accident outside. I think it was yesterday. Kind of think so. I was talking to my daughter. And what is this? Tonight? Yeah, it was yesterday because it was my birthday. She was calling me up to wish me a happy birthday. And we were yakking, and all of a sudden, boom, bam, bam. I'm like, what the hell? That was the loudest accident I've heard here. And a couple of pickup trucks had a collision. Luckily, one was going fast that way, one was going slow this way, and they just caught the corners. And so one was still sitting in the intersection, immobile, and the other one was about 100 yards of shoulder, went through the parking lot of the tire shop next door, went out the far side of the parking lot, and went up on the dirt berm. Luckily, it was a Saturday, or no, Sunday, so nobody was there. Otherwise, he would have taken out a bunch of cars. And luckily, nobody appeared to be seriously injured. The guy here wasn't. The other guy was laying on the ground. And mentally, he wasn't really, thank you, David, alert or whatever, but it might have been some kind of impairment prior to the accident. I don't know. But yeah, it was, that truck left a streak of wide, thick streak of dirt all the way across the parking lot when it went from the dirt on this side to the dirt on that side. So, yeah, that was kind of interesting. Let's see. Anyone got any questions or anything at this point? Thank you, Brian. Any questions or subjects up in the air at this point? Thank you, Mr. Virtue. It's, let's see, what is it? It's the 8th. So Eva is today 9, 10, 11, 12. Eva should be Friday, day before Valentine's Day. That's handy for me because when Valentine's Day is coming up, I remember it's Eva's birthday. Okay, honey bunny. Thank you, Shane. So, anyhow, appointment on Sunday, checking out the lungs, trying to figure out why I'm got this shortness of breath. It's not obvious what's going on. You know, the lungs look fine, the heart's working fine. As far as like, you know, they can't find anything that explains it. Oh well. Yeah, it's true, David. Didn't think of that one, but you're absolutely correct. She says that's lucky. And wish him hello, Shane. Heck, you could bring him. You could get him in front of the screen and I could say happy birthday. Yeah. Hey, 406 Minor, when are we coming up to SPU? Oh, well, Shane, I tried. Yeah, Richard's kids in the Philippines thought that was pretty cool. You know, he's got some youngsters. So they thought it was pretty cool. Hi, how's it going? You know? Yeah, 406. I think we got an appointment next month up in Missoula. Oh, we're just going to be there to do a doctor's appointment for Eva. Well, wintertime is a little iffy. But the way it's been going, it shouldn't be too iffy for too long. It's not going to take long for the snow to mellow out at this rate. Goodness. And so probably in April we could make a trip up there. Shouldn't be too hard to do. We're not doing any mining trips up there ourselves at the moment, but we could take the minivan and go up there and meet you and make a day of it. Wouldn't be too hard to do. Oh. So that would be kind of cool. Tentatively, we're looking at making a couple of trips. We got an invite from Red Wing to go down there. And if we do that, we'll probably hit another couple of things on the way there and back too. So we shall see how it works out. This year is promising to be very unpredictable in terms of what we're going to be doing, etc. It's getting pretty complicated. Gold Pandan's got some stuff for me to pick up over there. Be over to the Black Hills. So yeah, that's a good question. Is this how steep is it? 406. I can walk okay. I'm not sure how good I'm going to hike now. is could be able to do it. I've got my own Rhino rocket now, so I'm prepared for field work. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. I that would be so undesirable to have to install that myself. I think Eva could probably do it, but I hate to. I don't know. Let's just hope we never have to worry about it. I haven't had any problems since then. Um, yeah, that's kind of my thought too, honey bunny. Some of it 45 degrees. That might get a little tricky. How much of it is 45 degrees? A little bit at the end, or lots and lots of it between here and there? Like going up over that high ridge and down the other side sort of thing. I'm just saying, with my physical condition right now, I have to take that into account. It's extremely annoying. I don't like being laid up. Well, that's not good for 06. I don't like being laid up. Well, that's not good for 06. When did that happen? That recent, or is that something you've been dealing with for a while? I say Eva's first one was what, 4 years ago? All 45. That's pretty problematic for 06. I don't know if I could do that. Yeah, elevation won't be helpful. It'll be like 6,000 feet. Bladder cancer, huh? Yeah, he's, as far as we know, is cured. But then again, last time, as far as we knew, it was cured too. And she made it 3 years without anything going up. And so that's kind of like you're in good shape now. And it's like, it just decided to be difficult. By the way, let me go check on her right now for a minute. She asked me to check on her. She was feeling kind of poorly. To check on her. She was feeling kind of poorly. Color's good, breathing regular, and so she just needs some rest. That's what I mean by her her energy level appears to be normal most of the time, but you put her under stress and she runs out of gas pretty quickly right now. And so, yeah, her physical condition isn't much better than mine. Actually, mine's probably better than hers right now. Huh. Yeah, I take a lot of breaks, trying almost anything, as long as I'm not doing anything else instead. So we shall see what we shall see. When we come to Missoula for her appointment, do you want us to give you a call the day before or something like that? Thank you, 406. So anyhow, so that's kind of the situation right now. And I'm kind of surprised that Jared hadn't called yet, because his assistant was supposed to be back from the mine a little while ago. He might be actually watching and seeing that I'm still running the live stream We shall see what we shall see. 8,000 gold. Good, Brian. Exactly. Pyrite's interesting. It can carry a lot of gold, but you never know. But anyhow, so I say we shall see what we shall see. Oh. There's a number of green rocks. The one over there in Oregon that we were working on. That was serpentine. But anyhow, anything else? It's been a pretty short live stream. I'd like to get more information. Jade, serpentine, chlorite. Jade would be nice. Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to get too much green tourmaline, although that's a possibility sometimes too, but not usually as a base rock. Be inclusions. Yeah, it would be. That would be great. Screw the gold. In terms of markets, we're very comfortable with the concept that silver's got a bottom. Comfortable with the concept that silver's got a bottom, hard bottom right now of about $70. And so whenever it gets down into the 70s, if we have some money, we buy a little bit. The Chinese just told their commercial banks today to lighten up on U.S. treasuries. So that could be interesting. His interpretation was that that's because they really need the money themselves, so they want Chinese banks buying Chinese debt. And sounds plausible to me. I'm getting indications that China's not real stable internally right now. Financially, socially, real stable internally right now. Financially, social, not necessarily in a good way, not necessarily in a bad way. We'll just have to see. Again, it looks like the Trump administration is pro-mining, and they're looking to decrease our dependence on foreign supplies. So we shall see on that. In terms of the price of gold, I don't know that much because that depends more on economics than fundamentals. Silver's got some fundamentals. You got to have silver to do certain things. And if you want to do those things, you got to pay whatever it takes to get that silver. So that will tend to drive the price of silver up, independent of speculation, monetary policy, and things like that. Let's say I know some people were actually dealing with these things, and it's like, yeah, there's a big push. So it's both mining and processing. It's going under the radar, which is fine with me. I'm just as happy if the left doesn't know anything's happening until it hits them between the eyes. So we shall see what we shall see on that. Um, and again, a lot of it could have a lot to do with the price of the dollar, which has a lot to do with U.S. deficit spending and such. So we shall see how that goes. Interesting. So we shall see what we shall see on that. I'm pretty impressed with some of the gold Red Wing's been getting. First of all, it's plenty chunky enough to recover by gravity, so that's good. That makes it real simple for him. But reasonable concentrations too. Uh, Hopefully, we'll get the mine in Nicaragua running well, and then I can focus on testing other leach solutions. Hopefully, everything will run smoothly, find another place to stay, move stuff over there, have a much bigger shop, everything else to work with, and they'll have a lot of money for me to work with. We shall see. Always in motion, the future is. You know? So, we shall see what we shall see. Oh, you tried to post a link, 406? Anyone else got anything they want to bring up? I'm going to try and have some fun with that gold monster this summer, too. Can you ship out of Central America? Depends on what you're trying to ship and in what way. A lot of times it's easier for them to just carry it back on the plane in their luggage. But they're working on getting an export license too. So if they could get that paperwork done, then life would be a lot easier. There's a lot of things going on that, I mean, I don't think the situation with Iran is going to stay in the negotiation phase very much longer. I think they're going to do something, and they're expecting it to be big and complicated and risky, and so they're trying to stack the odds in their favor as possible before they execute. That's pretty much a pure guess at this point. But my guess is, do you think that the whole Iran regime is pretty unstable or not? I mean, I just don't know. I don't know enough about it, but knowing Trump and the way he works, he's probably trying to work a deal like he did with, hey, do you want to be number one? I can help you arrange that. I just have no idea how good a plan that is and how cooperative number twos will be. I've noticed that in Venezuela, we haven't heard anything for a couple of weeks now. Apparently nothing really bad is happening down there, but we shall see. That's kind of my thought, honey bunny. Yep, I agree, Mr. Virtue. We got some serious weaknesses, vulnerabilities. Exactly. That debt, that's a real potential problem. And that's another thing a lot of people don't realize about Russia is they're pretty much debt free also. because they went through this stuff not too long ago. Yeah, but how likely is it they can prevail? Anybody? That's the question. I mean, I'm sure a whole lot of people would love to change, but there's a significant number of people that don't, and there's a number of people that are in charge right now that don't want to lose that power. I don't know how it all balances out. And if we start something, what are they going to do and how hard it will be to defend against it is a question I don't know. So everything indicates to me they're getting ready for something, but how ready they will get and how well that will happen is just a really, really big question. A really, really big question. And if the rains really mess up the Straits of Hormuz, there goes the whole oil markets, and that destabilizes stuff. And then what happens over here? You know, it's that's the problem when you have a lot of debt and you're dependent on other people for stuff. Is that things happen and life sucks because you're not in control of your own life, so to speak. So that can be a situation. I think the Europeans are finally getting the idea that they're going to have to deal with this whole situation pretty much on their own. So it'd probably be in their best interest to try and negotiate. I don't know. Yeah, exactly, honey bunny. And as you're well aware, the United States government has options that we are not aware of. Um, and I don't know how many of them they're to, oh, they're already turning against us, honey bunny. But there's their whole societies are so weak right now that that my thought just let us do in their own juices. You know, they made their bed, let them lay in it. We don't have to get in bed with them and see what happens. Um, I don't know. It's a weird situation. Um, Japan, they just elected a right wing woman, and it was pretty powerful election. I mean, it was a blowout, so it's like 2/3, 1/3 sort of thing. And so the betting is that she's going to really increase the defense spending over there. That wouldn't surprise me, but it's a lot harder to wipe someone out who's got the resources to take care of themselves uh, than people who do not. That is an excellent question, Mr. Virtue. I say, I don't know. There's too many factors. Really? I haven't studied the situation, honey bunny. I mean, if I was in Japan, I'd be nervous about a lot of things from China to the birth rate and stuff like that. Well, maybe we need to get together sometime, 406. If you're ever in Helena or ever planning on coming through, let me know. We might just make it where instead of going to the mine over there, you just come on over here and we can talk and do stuff and everything. You know? So there's always that. I like to talk. He was in pretty good shape now. Oh, let's see what this is. Is this Jared? Let's see. Da-da-da. Let's see. Just a minute, folks. There we go. Anyhow, sounds like a plan, 406. Whenever you feel like it, just give me a call. You got my number, don't you? Pretty sure. Hi, Jean. How's it going? Eva's asleep right now. She kind of ran out of gas this afternoon. Okay, 406. I got some plans that we might be able to work together on too. That would be cool, huh? Thank you, Gene. Appreciate it. Hello, Angora. How's it going? Do you have any questions or anything, Angora? I've been chatting here for about an hour and looking for new subjects to talk about. So if you got any questions, now's an excellent time to ask them. So yeah, that was Jared. He's going to get some dinner. Thank you, Angora. Yeah, I just sent Jared the new instructions, and so he's going to look over them and. So that's what we're doing so far. And hate to get too close to the camera, but in order to read the comments, sometimes I have to. Let's see if I can just increase the angle here a little. Yeah, that looks better. So anyhow, that's the situation. Everything is I'd love to get some really nice videos and stuff, but I'm kind of limited in what I can actually do right now. Although it's nice to go out with Alton too. He's local here, and maybe get some time on the Gold Monster. What's the price of tea in China? Probably cheaper than here. But that's, kind of either here or there. I'd love to go to Dan. Say, if we go down to Red Wing Mine, that would be interesting, especially as on the way back or on the way down. I'd like to go through Liberty because the gentleman from Liberty Gold has invited us anytime we want to. So that would be kind of an interesting side trip too. I gotta check. I gotta replace the radiator in the van. One of the seams is leaking a little bit, but it's up near the top, and especially during the winter, that slightly lower level is about this far from the top. It can handle that no problem. And so I need to get that fixed and the front struts. Then I think we'd be ready to travel again without a problem. So we shall see. But that's kind of where we're at. And I'm itching to get on the road again. Thank you, Travis. I'd really like to do some more field trips. Those are fun. But I don't know what the situation's going to be. So we shall see what we shall see. Well, in Poor Man's Creek, I presume that's claimed. It might be an interesting spot to metal detect, but I'm sure it's taken. I've got a claim up here by not Avon. Oh, not Avon. Oh, good word. Top of McDonald's Pass, there's a town pass there between there and Avon. I've got a I got a claim up there I want to check out too, with the metal detector. Be interesting to see what happens. There's an old campsite there and everything, and might have some artifacts or coins or something in there. Have no idea. We'll see. According to Dan, the gold monster is better at picking up small gold, and the other one, the 5,000, would have been better for picking up bigger things deeper. But we shall see what we shall see. Well, my claims, the placer at my claims is right next to the frickin' road. Good staking. Um, there good staking. Um, there is you know some access up there for some hard rock that's currently caved. So we shall see what we shall see. So I like to. It would be nice if the boys start making good money, then we find a good place to move to, and then I'd be really set up, and I'd also feel comfortable where I'm at. Yeah, I don't mind shoveling, honey bunny. I don't know how well I'll do it nowadays, but I don't mind shoveling or swinging a pick, as long as I don't have to exert myself too strenuously. Uh, okay, does anyone else have any other questions or subjects to bring up here? Uh, I'm a little bit talked out, but that's not unusual since I didn't get much done this week. I'm still doing research at the moment. When I get this last sample digested, I'll do some more testing with the copper wire. But yeah, it seems to work pretty well. It should be a good actionable test for the boys down in Venezuela, Nicaragua. I don't know why I keep conflating those two. Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, Mr. Virtuous. Hopefully, I have some really interesting stuff later as we get all these other things done. But as I say, I don't. What do you call it? The one that shows on uh, the thumbnail. What is better, a ball mill or a rod mill? I do not know, 406, but I believe a rod mill gives you a more consistent grind size. A ball mill, you'll tend to have a higher variation in the particle sizes. Um, I know they use both of them, and there's not one or the other. The zinc strips didn't seem to do me much good, Brian. Say the copper, it seems easier to see exactly what's going on. I think the zinc strips may be plating out silver and other stuff too, which is kind of confusing the issue. Hey, Urban Prospecting, how's it going? Hey, Urban Prospecting, how's it going? Yeah, I just started using some 8 gauge bare copper wire. You just go down to a hardware store and buy some ground wire. Just clean it, stick it in. Seems to work pretty well. If you don't have a good result in an hour, it's pretty low concentration. 77 degrees there today. Well, you must be out west, because back east it ain't that warm at all. It's fun joshing my, daughter in North Carolina about, too bad you moved to the cold country, Florida. Yeah. Well, it warmed up there then. After a while there, you guys, just for a little bit, a few days last week, it kind of sucked, the big one. No, not rebar, bare copper wire. Okay. Number 8 bare copper wire, 8 gauge. And when you stick it in the Eco Gold X solution, it'll plate. Let me show you here. So, let's play a little game here. You can see a lot of stuff is plated on this, but up near the end, yeah, it's hard to do because up there you can actually see some. Let's see what happens if I wipe it off. Get a little more light here. That's mainly silver, I'm thinking, because that's copper there that you're seeing, not gold. But initially it'll plate the gold. So I suspect it's the sequential plating. It'll plate gold, then it plates something like, yeah, it's not that nasty a material, just Eco Gold X. And but it shows up pretty easily when it first starts plating out. It's pretty easy to see. So let's say it seems to work pretty well, but Brian, that's the problem with the zinc, is it plates that kind of stuff too at the same time. The copper seems to be kind of selective. It'll plate the gold first and then the crap. There's nothing wrong with a rod mill that I'm aware of, but for some reason ball mills are more common. You can also use a common. You can also use a like a quasi autogenous mill where you just get cobbles, good hard cobbles, and use those. Zinc favors silver. It could be, honey bunny. That seemed to be what I observed. And the copper seems to favor the gold. So I thought the zinc, it would be easier to see because gold is yellow, but that's not what happened. So I say thanks for sending that to me, Brian, but it didn't seem to be the tool that I needed to do the job. But it's the copper seems to work fine, and you can find copper wire anywhere. It's pretty easy to get. So it makes for a simple method that's basically easy to do anywhere. It's hard to find zinc. You don't just find it at your local hardware store or whatever, although you could go with galvanized. Eva's moving about now. I have no clue, honey bunny. Right now, I've been very, very focused on getting actionable intelligence so that they can start that leaching plant up down there in Nicaragua. And so all the interesting side trips and stuff is like, no, you can't do that now. Hopefully we'll be doing that in a month or so. But that would be nice is if the money is fairly plentiful to actually take some classes, some chemistry, some mineralogy, stuff like that. That would be fun. I think I would enjoy that. Strike that. I know I would enjoy that. So would Eva. Hey, Mr. Lodak, how's it going? I'm almost talked out right now, so just giving you a heads up. Eva's doing okay. The copper wire testing for gold and Eco Goldex solution seems to be a functional test that works pretty well. Thank you, Angora. Nice seeing you. We do it every Monday at 6 o'clock Montana time, and right now is 7 o'clock Montana time. So we start an hour earlier than this every Monday evening. So anyhow, that, and it looks like both the Eco Goldex and the resin work best in small doses as opposed to all at once at the beginning. So we shall see. Okay. And that's about it. So if nobody has a yes, 406 says it all, huh? 406 minor. So nobody has any more questions or subjects. I'll probably call it a week, and we'll go from there. Wait just a minute, honey bunny. We shall see. And that's it. I'm doing okay. Eva's getting much better, and that's a big relief. So happy prospecting and keep it safe out there. Let's see. Hello. There's the cursor. Click and stream.